I'm allergic to poverty. Imagine someone who can't even afford my skincare products talking about love. As how?
Joanna, take it easy. Money is not everything.
Oh, please. Hold it right there, girl. And I've heard that 1,000 times.
But tell me something, can love pay rent? Can it buy groceries? Can it fix your nails and keep your skin glowing? So don't tell me money is not everything. As for me, I don't need any Mark in my life anymore. I want Mr. Right.
Joanna was a beautiful young woman, tall, curvy, sharp eyes that always looked like they were calculating something. She came from a family of 5, her father, her mother, 2 girls, and 1 boy. They were not poor, but they were not rich either. Her father had moderate money. They could eat 3 meals a day without struggle. School fees were paid. Rent was not a problem. But for Joanna, it was never enough. Even as a little girl, she always wanted more. More toys, more dresses, more attention, more everything. Whenever her father tried to correct her, he would shake his head and say, "This girl, she wants too much." But her mother would quickly defend her. "She's still small. When she grows up, she will know better." That was the hope. But that hope slowly became a lie. Now Joanna is 24 years old, more beautiful than ever, more confident, and her desires even bigger. She has dated 5 different men already, good men, hard-working men, but to Joanna, they were not her match. Why? Because they could not afford luxury hair extensions, designer shopping sprees, spa treatments every weekend, exotic vacations she had only seen on social media. She didn't just want comfort, she wanted a life that would make people jealous. So she ended every relationship the same way, politely but firmly. "You're not what I'm looking for." Now Joanna is waiting for the right man, not for love, but for luxury. And somewhere in the city, destiny is preparing to answer her prayer in a way she never expected. Joanna worked as a receptionist at a beautiful resort in the city. The place was known for luxury weddings, rich guests, and expensive vacations. Every day, she watched wealthy couples check in. Designer bags, expensive perfumes, flashy cars, and every day, she complained about her salary. "This pay is too small," she would say. But she never quit. Deep down, she knew the money was manageable. It paid her bills. It fed her. It kept her comfortable. She just wanted more. Joanna was not ambitious in the usual way. She didn't dream of starting a business. She didn't dream of promotions. Her only ambition was simple: marry a rich man. One afternoon, while she was scrolling through her phone at the front desk, it began to ring. "Joanna, isn't that your phone ringing?" Lena, her colleague, asked. Joanna glanced at the screen and rolled her eyes. "Oh, I know. That's Mark." "Why don't you pick his calls?" Lena asked. "He doesn't match my standards, so I won't," Joanna replied coldly. Lena shook her head slowly. "You have to stop this belief of yours. It won't take you anywhere." "Oh, please, mind your business," Joanna fired back. "You can go ahead and date him if you want." Lena raised her hands in surrender. "I'm so sorry, ma'am. It won't happen again." "Whatever," Joanna muttered. Just then, the glass door of the resort opened and everything changed. A tall, handsome man walked in. He wore a perfectly tailored designer suit. His shoes shined. His watch alone looked like it could pay her yearly salary. He moved with quiet confidence. Joanna's breath caught in her throat. Her sharp eyes scanned him quickly, the suit, the watch, the calm expression. "Mr. Right," she whispered under her breath. For the first time in a long while, her heart was not beating for love. It was beating for opportunity. The man walked confidently to the front desk. "Good afternoon," he said in a deep, calm voice. Joanna straightened immediately. Her smile changed softer, sweeter, almost glowing. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Royal Crest Resort," she replied politely. "I have a reservation under the name Daniel Adebayo." Even his name sounded expensive. Joanna checked the system quickly. Presidential suite, one of the most expensive rooms in the entire resort. Her heart skipped. "Everything is ready for you, Mr. Adebayo," she said, her voice suddenly gentle. As she handed him the key card, their fingers brushed slightly. "Thank you," he said, with a small smile. That smile? Calm, controlled, not desperate, not impressed. Men usually tried too hard around her. But this one? He looked like he owned the air he breathed. As he walked toward the elevator, Lena leaned closer. "Be careful," she whispered. "Rich men don't just fall from the sky." Joanna didn't respond. Her eyes were fixed on him until the elevator doors closed. That night, she couldn't sleep. Daniel Adebayo. Presidential suite, designer suit, luxury watch. This was not Mark. This was not the other 5. This was the level she had been waiting for.
Welcome to NFC Nation, where legends come alive and every story has a lesson. Special shout out to our amazing viewers watching from Jamaica, Ohio, the USA, South Africa, and everyone tuning in from different countries around the world. We truly appreciate you. Tell us in the comments who you're watching from different countries around the world so we can give you a shout out in our next video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to help us keep these stories alive. This is NFC Nation. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the story.
The next few days, Joanna made sure she was always the one attending to Daniel. Whenever he returned from work, she would be ready. "How was your day, sir? Do you need anything? Should I call room service for you?" She acted like she was more than a receptionist, almost like personal service. Extra polite, extra helpful, extra charming. And Daniel noticed. One evening, as he collected his key card, he looked at her carefully. "You seem very hard-working," he said calmly. Joanna smiled shyly. "I try my best." He gave her a small smile, then walked away. The moment he was out of sight, she placed her hand on her chest. "Did he just say I'm hard-working?" she whispered, blushing. Lena stared at her. "Are you okay? Should I check your head?" she teased. Joanna ignored her. For the first time, this didn't feel like just money. It felt like progress. But the next morning, Daniel checked out of the hotel. His business in the city was done. Joanna watched him leave through the glass doors, her heart sinking. She wished she had asked for his number. She wished she had tried harder, but it was too late. That night, Joanna lay on her bed, scrolling through Twitter. She was bored, restless. Then, suddenly, she froze. Her mouth flew open. There he was, Donald Adebayo. But the name confused her. Did he change his name from Daniel to Donald? She whispered, frowning. On her screen, he looked nothing like the calm, serious man from the resort. Champagne in hand, loud music in the background, flashing lights, beautiful people dancing around him. He was laughing wildly, moving freely, living loudly. Joanna's confusion slowly turned into excitement. "Interesting. I didn't know he was a party freak," she whispered with a smile. "My type." Without thinking twice, she tapped the follow button. Then she quickly sent a message. "Hello, Mr. Daniel Adebayo." Her heart raced as she waited. She felt lucky. She felt chosen. But what Joanna didn't know, somewhere else in the same city, there was another Adebayo. Same face, same height, same voice. Donald received her message. He checked out her profile slowly, scrolling through her pictures. He smiled. "Pretty," he muttered, sipping from his glass of wine. He was a completely different man. And very soon, the wrong twin would step into her life. A few weeks later, Joanna saw him again. The glass doors of the resort opened, and there he was. But something felt different. This version of him walked in louder, more expressive, more dramatic. His smile was wider. His confidence is almost arrogant. He winked at her. Joanna blinked. Wasn't he serious before? She wondered. But she quickly pushed the thought aside. "Well, it's time to shoot my shot," she muttered. "I'm allergic to poverty." Lena, standing beside her, sighed. "Be careful," she warned softly. But Joanna didn't listen. This man, Donald Daniel's twin, though she had no idea was charming in a flashy way. He loved attention. He loved expensive places. He loved to show off. And Joanna loved that. Donald never mentioned he had a twin brother. He simply played along. He took her to expensive restaurants, luxury lounges, private beach resorts. He bought her gifts that made her post long captions online. "Finally, with a real man," she wrote proudly. Slowly, pride began to grow inside her. She started seeing Lena differently. Low class, ordinary, small-minded. When Lena tried to advise her again, Joanna brushed her off. "You won't understand this level," she said coldly. Then came the proposal. It was public, loud, romantic. Donald went on one knee in the middle of a high-end restaurant. Cameras flashed. People clapped. Joanna did not hesitate. "Yes," she shouted before he could even finish speaking. This was it. This was life. When they went to see her parents, they arrived in a sleek black SUV. The sound of the engine alone made neighbors peep through their windows. Whispers filled the street. "Is that Joanna? She married rich. Look at the car." Joanna stepped out slowly, making sure everyone saw her. That attention, that admiration, that was what she truly loved. Her parents were overwhelmed with joy. Her father smiled proudly. Her mother cried, "My daughter has made it," she said happily. The wedding was grand. Beautiful decorations, expensive outfits, luxury venue. But something felt strange. There weren't many guests from Donald's side. Joanna noticed, but she said nothing. Money was what mattered. During the ceremony, just as the music played softly and guests smiled, a calm, well-dressed man walked toward them. Joanna froze. Her heart skipped. It was him, the serious one, the quiet businessman from the resort. But he looked exactly like her husband. Same face, same height, same voice. For a second, Joanna felt dizzy. Donald cleared his throat awkwardly. "I never knew you would come, bro. Thought you were busy with business?" he said with a mocking smile. The man ignored the tone. "Meet my brother," Donald said casually. "Daniel." Joanna's smile stiffened. "Brother?" Daniel looked at her carefully. Recognition flashed in his eyes. He clearly remembered her from the resort. But instead of responding to Donald, he focused on her. "Welcome to the circle," he said softly. Joanna blinked. "Oh, so you won't tell me congratulations?" Donald asked, half joking, half annoyed. But Daniel was already walking away. He didn't answer. He simply left calmly. Joanna didn't understand. "Welcome to the circle?" The words echoed in Joanna's mind for only a second. Then the music swelled. Her parents danced with joy. Her siblings laughed loudly. Plates clattered. Glasses touched. The hall shimmered with light. She had married into wealth. That was enough. It was the happiest day of her life. Or so she believed. They moved into their new home. The house was everything she had imagined. Marble floors that reflected the light. Tall glass windows that overlooked the city. A kitchen that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Donald owned it all. The first month of marriage felt unreal. Trips without planning. Parties without limits. Designer bags without hesitation. Joanna walked beside him like a trophy. She posted pictures almost every day. "Living the dream," she captioned one. She watched the likes rise. She read the comments twice. She enjoyed the envy. For the first time in her life, she felt superior. But dreams built on money are fragile. One evening, Joanna came downstairs and found Donald sitting alone at the dining table. The music was off. The lights were dim. In front of him, his ATM card lay on the table. He kept turning it slowly between his fingers, staring at it like it had betrayed him. He looked different, smaller. "Is everything okay?" she asked lightly, trying to sound concerned. Donald quickly straightened up and slipped the card into his palm. "It's nothing," but his eyes betrayed him. Days passed. The parties stopped. The shopping slowed. The house, once filled with music and laughter, grew quiet. Takeout replaced fine dining. The silence between them began to stretch. Joanna noticed. She just didn't want to admit it. Then one night, she decided she needed answers. She walked into the living room, arms folded across her chest. "Is it just me?" she asked. "Or have you stopped taking care of me?" Donald looked up slowly. "What do you mean?" "The past few days haven't been giving," she replied. "I've only gone shopping once." Donald stared at her, almost in disbelief. "We need to start managing things," he said carefully. "Things aren't going well." She frowned. "What things?" He hesitated. Then he said it. "The money is finished." The words were soft, but they shook the room. Joanna stared at him. "What money?" "My inheritance," he said quietly. "My share from my father." Her chest tightened. "What inheritance? What do you mean?" Donald exhaled slowly. "Before my father passed away, he divided his money between Daniel and me." He swallowed. "I spent mine. Some investments failed, and I realized too late that I was living too extravagantly." The air in the room shifted. It suddenly felt colder. "Daniel?" she asked quietly. Donald looked away. "Daniel invested his share. He's expanding, growing." Everything clicked. The calm twin, the disciplined one, the real businessman. And the man she married, the spender, the entertainer, the showman. The house suddenly felt heavier. The marble floors no longer shined. Reality had arrived. And it was not gentle. Within weeks, comfort turned into calculation. Bills began to pile up. Groceries had to be counted. Even 3 proper meals a day became uncertain. The tension in the house grew thick. Then one night, it exploded. "You deceived me," Joanna shouted. "Why didn't you tell me you weren't Daniel?" Donald's jaw tightened. "You would have left when you found out, but you stayed," he replied, his voice low but sharp. "At first, I wanted to play along, but somewhere along the line, I fell for you." Silence swallowed the room. Donald took a step forward. "We should be looking for solutions, not creating more problems." Joanna let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, please, Mr. Donald. You dragged me into this mess. Fix it yourself. And love? I loved you when you had money. Now the money is gone, and so are my feelings." With that, she stormed out of the room. The words lingered in the air long after she left. They hurt more than the shouting. Donald stood there, stunned. Maybe she's just angry, he told himself. But deep down, he knew it was more than anger. After that night, something shifted permanently. Their home stopped being a home. It became a battlefield. Everything irritated Joanna. They argued over nothing. A misplaced shoe, an unpaid bill, a greeting that came too late. Small things carried big anger. The love that once felt loud and glamorous faded into cold stares and closed doors. Sometimes, in the middle of the silence, Joanna found herself thinking about Daniel. His steady eyes, his quiet confidence. "Welcome to the circle," he had said. Now she finally understood. She had married into the family, but she had chosen the wrong twin. One morning, after sitting alone for hours, Joanna made up her mind. "I can't continue living like this," she whispered to herself. She packed her bags quietly. No drama, no tears. She wrote a short note, placed it neatly on the table, slipped off her wedding ring and left. That evening, Donald returned home. The house felt different, empty. "Joanna?" he called out. No answer. He walked into the living room and noticed the paper on the table. His hands trembled as he picked it up. Tears filled his eyes as he read. "I'm sorry, Donald. I can't continue this marriage. You can't even afford my skincare products anymore. Don't bother looking for me." The ring was inside the envelope. Donald sank into the chair. Tears rolled down his face. She had meant every word. In that quiet moment, something inside him hardened. He wiped his face slowly. If she had left because he was broke, then he would face his fears. And he would rise again. He sold the apartment and moved into a smaller place. The big house that once echoed with music and laughter was gone. In its place was a simple one-bedroom apartment. No marble floors, no wide glass windows, just plain walls and quiet nights. He invested what was left of his money into a small company as a minor shareholder. His share was the smallest among them, but he didn't care. For the first time in a long time, Donald stopped chasing parties and started chasing stability. No more flashy nights, no more expensive bottles, no more showing off. He woke up early. He attended meetings. He listened more than he spoke. Slowly, he began rebuilding. Meanwhile, Joanna knew she could not go back to working at the resort. Her pride would not allow it. So she packed her bags and went back to her father's house. "I just came for a 3-week vacation," she said sweetly, forcing a smile. "I missed you all." Her mother was happy. Her siblings were excited. They welcomed her with hugs and laughter. But her father was quiet. He watched her carefully. He knew Joanna. She would never leave a palace for a hut unless something was wrong. Still, he said nothing. Weeks passed. While Donald was quietly rebuilding his life, Joanna was busy rebuilding her image. She stayed in her childhood bedroom, editing old luxury photos. She posted fake captions. Soft life only. Blessed and highly favoured. Private dinner nights. She smiled for the camera, but there were no dinners. No trips. No designer bags. Only filters. 3 weeks became 1 month. 1 month became 2. The house that once felt temporary began to feel permanent. Her parents began to notice. "What is really going on?" her mother asked one evening. Joanna looked away quickly. "He cheated on me," she said without hesitation. The lie came too easily. Her mother gasped. Her father's face hardened. "How dare he?" her father said angrily. "We will confront him." Joanna quickly shook her head. "No, please, we will settle it ourselves." She forced tears into her eyes. She didn't want the truth to come out. She didn't want them to know she left because the money was gone. She didn't want them to know she had chosen luxury over loyalty. So she kept pretending. But pretending has an expiration date. And time was moving. While Donald was growing quietly, Joanna was shrinking behind filters and lies. And very soon, karma would knock loudly at her door. Soon, the knock finally came. It wasn't loud at first. It came as a notification. One quiet afternoon, Joanna lay on her bed scrolling through her phone, editing another old luxury picture. She adjusted the brightness, softened her skin, and added a caption about soft life. Just as she was about to post it, and she froze. A familiar face appeared. Donald. But this was not the old Donald. He was not holding champagne. He was not surrounded by flashing lights and loud music. He was standing beside Daniel in front of a tall glass building. Both of them wore sharp suits. They looked calm, confident, and successful. The headline read, "Adebayo Brothers launch new investment firm." Joanna slowly sat up. Her heart began to pound. She tapped the article with shaking fingers. It spoke about discipline, strategy, recovery, and growth. It mentioned how Donald had rebuilt himself after a financial setback and partnered with his twin brother to create something stronger. Her mouth went dry. The comments were worse. Power move. Strong comeback. Real men rebuild. Where's Mr. Donald's wife? You mean the one that edits her photos? That last comment had thousands of likes. Joanna swallowed hard. Then the tagging started. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Notifications flooded her screen. People were tagging her under the post, laughing, asking questions, exposing old lies. "No, no, this can't happen," she gasped. Her secret was slipping through her fingers. Within hours, the post was everywhere. Blogs picked it up. Gossip pages shared screenshots of her fake posts. The story began to spread. She left him when he was broke, and now he had bounced back. Joanna felt like she had seen a ghost. "I have to fix this," she whispered. "I need to go back to Donald." The next morning, she dressed carefully. Not too flashy, not too simple. She took a taxi to the newly launched company building. When she arrived, the building looked even more impressive in person. Glass walls reflected the morning sun. Employees walked in confidently. Everything looked organized and serious. This was not the world of parties anymore. This was the world of discipline. Joanna stood outside the glass building for a few minutes before gathering the courage to go in. Her hands were shaking, but she forced herself to walk to the reception desk. "I'm here to see Mr. Donald Adebayo," she said softly. The receptionist gave her a long look before making a call. After a short pause, she nodded. "You can go in. He's expecting you." Joanna walked toward the office door. Her heart pounded in her chest. She pushed the door open and froze. Inside the office, sitting across from Donald and Daniel, was Lena. But this was not the Lena she remembered. She wore a fitted black designer suit. Her hair was neatly styled. She looked confident, classy, powerful. Joanna blinked. Lena, you work here?" she asked, her voice trembling. Lena smiled calmly. "Of course," she said. "But I don't think that's why you're here. You must have something to say." There was a slight smirk on her face. Joanna swallowed and turned to Donald. She walked toward him quickly and, without thinking, dropped to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm very sorry," she cried. "My love, I just realized my mistakes. I swear it won't happen again. I was foolish and naive. Please forgive me." Donald stared at her quietly. For a moment, no one spoke. "I forgive you," he finally said. Hope rushed into Joanna's heart. "But I don't want you back." The words were calm, steady, final. Joanna felt her strength leave her body. "Donald, please," she whispered. He shook his head slowly. "You said you loved me because of money. And now I know you're back because the money came back." Her tears fell harder. "When I had nothing, you left," he continued. "When things were hard, you walked away. I don't need someone who loves comfort more than commitment, despite everything I did for you." "I'm so sorry," Joanna sobbed. "Please, give me a second chance." Silence filled the office. Then Daniel finally spoke. "In our circle, we don't do that," he said calmly. His voice was not loud, but it carried weight. "Life teaches lessons. Opportunities come once. You proved who you are. I noticed it the first day I saw you at the resort." Joanna lowered her head in shame. Lena shook her head slowly. "I told you, Joanna, wanting more is not wrong. But wanting more without working for it can cost you everything. I'm here today because I worked for it." The words were not cruel. They were true. Donald straightened in his seat. "I'll send the divorce papers tomorrow," he said firmly. "Now, if you don't mind, we were having an important meeting before you interrupted." The room felt smaller, heavier. Joanna slowly stood up. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she looked at them one last time. Daniel remained calm. Lena looked composed. Donald looked free. Joanna turned and walked out of the office. And this time, there was no one to run after her. Joanna realized something painful in that moment. No one hated her. No one needed to insult her. Her actions had already spoken for her. She walked out of the building slowly, but the damage was not over. Online, people were dragging her name. Old classmates reposted her luxury captions with new meanings. People she once made jealous were now mocking her. Luxury queen without a kingdom. Karma is real. Her pride, the same pride she protected so fiercely, was being torn apart in public. When she returned home that evening, her parents were waiting. Her father held his phone in his hand. "You lied to us," he said quietly. Her mother's eyes were red. "How could you do such a thing?" her mother asked. "I never knew your childhood greed was still alive inside you." Joanna tried to speak, but no words came out. Her father sighed deeply. I warned you, Joanna. Character is wealth, but you chose money over loyalty. Now you must face the consequences. That night, Joanna did not sleep. The house that once felt safe now felt heavy. The next days were even harder. Whenever she walked on the road, people stared. Some whispered, some pointed. She could feel judgment in their eyes. She began searching for jobs. She applied to offices, stores, hotels, but every time the answer was the same. We're sorry. There is no vacancy. She knew the truth. They did not trust her. Her story had traveled faster than she ever did. Her reputation had collapsed, and this time there were no filters to fix it. One afternoon, she sat alone in her childhood room and stared at herself in the mirror. For the first time, she saw clearly. She had chased money like it was security, but money without character is unstable. She had wanted a palace without building the foundation. She had chosen comfort over commitment, and life had chosen to teach her. Karma had not shouted. It had simply waited. Then it balanced the scale. Joanna finally understood something her father tried to teach her years ago. Wealth is not what you marry. Wealth is what you build. And when you trade loyalty for luxury, you may gain applause for a moment, but you lose respect forever. The circle Daniel spoke about was never about money. It was about discipline. It was about character. And she had never truly entered it. Now she stood outside, learning the hardest lesson of her life. Some doors close quietly, but the consequences echo for years. The end. Thanks for watching. If you loved this story, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share it with your friends. For more exciting and unforgettable stories, stay tuned to Tales with NFC Nation. Until next time, keep watching.